Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to my channel, All Around Mike, where I do all around things. Whatever you need, I got you. And today, we're sticking with one of the roots of this channel, the protectors. I'm just be diving into my first character description. You're gonna ask, well, what character are you gonna be describing? I'm gonna be describing a personal antagonist of mine, one that brings the thriller, the horror into the book. That is none other than the Black Figure. So, I'm going to be describing, what the Black Figure is, where it came from, motivations, and powers, abilities, and weaknesses. Like so, 3 categories. Let's get into it. So, what is the Black Figure? The Black Figure is an entity of the dark, an entity of the shadows, and just a being of nightmares. It is made up of this, its real form is, a shadowy like form with claws, white slits, uh, I'll get into that later, but primarily its first stage is white eyes. So, but getting into that, it's, what I mean by real form is more shadowy, its primary stage. So, but it can change into more of a gooey like substance. It can be more of a solid, you know? Like when in this book, when you first encounter the Black Figure, it leaves behind a gooey residue that Glob and Micah find. And then later, when Micah ends up fighting it, you see that, oh, it can be hit by her pulsar blast, where it puts a hole through it. It can become intangible where she can't even hit it. But also she does get like one good hit in. But so it can change its substance at will, and it is a dream dimension being. It is the undisputed ruler of the dream dimension, the undisputed most powerful figure in this dimension. And it can, one of the things that it can do is it can take your consciousness at only when it's at full power, but it can take your consciousness and pull it into the dream dimension and trap you there forever. Now, why specifically does it do this? Well, it needs to create fear. It needs to create havoc as a nightmare being, and it is a nightmare being become reality. Fear made real. So it needs to, the more souls it has in the dream dimension, the more hold it has over the entire dimension, the more power it has at that moment. Because the dream dimension is made up of energy, and this energy comes from the amount of soul that the Black Figure can bring in. So, yeah, there are souls littered throughout the dream dimension, and it feeds off of them, therefore making itself more powerful, and able to stay at whatever power level it wants. And now getting into powers and abilities. One of the most unique things about the Black Figure is that it has 3 different power levels, mentioned by Micah in chapter 4 of Long Con. We've got the white phase, we've got the yellow phase, and we've got its most powerful, the orange phase. Now let's circle back around to the white phase. And these will be really the only 2 phases that I'll describe in detail, because with the orange phase, I haven't outlined exactly entirely what it can do with that phase, because I have never really focused in on that one. because this is literally its first appearance in the book, and it only reaches yellow phase in this book. It never reaches full power in this book. So, but going back to the white phase, this is its most savage, its most animalistic phase, to where it has the least, supernatural abilities, but it gets up close. But it's the most dangerous. I think the most dangerous phase. As in, oh, it's gonna slash, it's gonna claw, it's gonna grab, and it's gonna be ruthless with you. As you find out at the end of chapter 3 that it has Micah basically dead to rights, and she gets lucky at the end of chapter 3. So, that is basically it, and it has the least amount of intelligence in this phase because it's just straight uncontrolled primal savage. Now, moving on to the yellow phase. Now this, it gains a couple more abilities. The one I like to call the freeze, to where it can put you in like this paralysis state and freeze you in your dream, to where you can't move or run away in your dream unless it wants you to. So there's that. It gains shadow teleportation. It gets 2 times as strong as the white phase, and it gains some sort of intelligence in use of its abilities. So there's that. And the things I'll dive into about the orange phase is that this is its most strategic, its most intelligent of the phases. And what I will put in for the orange phase is that this level is basically reality warping level. This is the phase that puts it on Peter's level, in a way, of like abilities and power. It can rival just about anybody when it's in orange phase. So that's all I kind of describe on that. But yeah, that is the Black Figure. It is a very dangerous being in this book, and it's one of the most uncontrolled, maybe not the most unhinged, but the most uncontrolled being in this book. Because with the No One, you have like it's evil, but it's very in control of what it does. Like, oh, I'm going to manipulate and send the heroes over here so I can distract them. It's very strategic minded, and as is the other villain in the book, Mimic. She's very smart and strategic in what evil she does, and she's very precise. But the Black Figure is probably the least you want to come across, because it's straight up gonna end you. It's straight up. And if you read in chapter 3 and 4, you'll find that out. One aspect about the Black Figure is that it will play with you. Once it gets to the yellow phase and it gains some sort of intelligence, it will, and a little bit more control, I guess. Which kind of contradicts what I said, but we'll ignore that. But it does gain some sort of intelligence, and it will play with you. As you see when when Alex and Redman are in the dream dimension, and they come across the Black Figure, finally, it played with them, and toyed with them, because it froze them, it used the freeze ability, it put the fear of everything into them, and then it unfroze them to allow them to run and then proceed to chase them. And then use the shadow teleportation to make them think that, oh crap, we lost it, and then it comes from the side of Redman and bam, get you. So that's basically the black figures. Once it gains personality, it's a play with its food type of being once it gets the yellow phase. So that is all I have to say on that character, and I'll get into another video where I'll talk about why this is actually a personal villain for me, and there are a lot of personal aspects in this book. So that's all I gotta say on this character, and I'll move on to another one. I'll have to figure out which one I want to talk about next. But I'll see you in the next video. Drop a like, subscribe if you want to follow along and come along for the ride here. I'll see you.